Yo.
Good
He's
tomorrow to you.
back. WTF, man? What is going on? Happy Tuesday.
I felt like you meant to ask me what's going on, and you said WTF, and you were like, "Wait a minute,
Wait a minute.
what the fuck?"
Yeah, no, that's what I said.
You're like, "That's what I meant."
I said what I said.
How you been?
Man, I'm doing all right. Yeah. How about you? We took the latter part of the week off last week. You were a little under the weather. You're all recovered now. Feeling good? I actually can't hear you if you're talking. Like it sounds like you're like 10 feet underground.
10 feet underground.
There you go. Not 6 feet.
Let me fix the audio. Hold on.
No, you're good now.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
my headphones, the mic is not being picked. It's okay. We'll fix it.
Yeah, no problem. Take as much time as you need. I'm just happy to be back up here with you.
Yes, sir.
Happy Memorial Day long weekend. Americans, as usual, celebrating long weekends after Canada does.
Yes. Can you? I don't know.
I can hear you.
Yes.
You're not as loud as you normally are, but you're not muffled either. You sound clear.
No, hold on. Let me try this now. Tell me, do I still sound clear?
Sounds like you're walking away from your microphone now.
Damn, still doing the same thing. All right. Forget it. Can it. Start the show.
And GM, guys. GM, welcome back to the AlphaMint Morning Show. It's been a few days. We took the last part of the week off. Last week. That's redundant, but free market, feel a little bit under the weather. First time in like 7 months that we've been doing the show that you messaged me saying you're gonna need a little bit of a break, and more than happy to oblige. We all needed some time, but it is May 31st. It is Tuesday, and it is episode 129 of the AM show. I am your host, R2DGen, and I am joined with me, as always, by Free Market Capitalist.
Hey now.
Free Market, how you feeling, man? You back on it? You sound great. You get a good long weekend in?
Yeah, it was nice. There was a lot of action in markets. So I was admittedly glued to the screen. We may have put in a nice little bottom there. And I'll tell you why it's a nice bottom, because it's so ugly. All right. And we tend to want to look for textbook patterns like double bottoms and inverse head and shoulders, and for good reason. They often present themselves.
Sorry to interrupt. You're talking about ETH right now?
I am talking about ETH, my friend.
Perfect. I will pull that up, and just for a little bit of context, Bitcoin broke around 32,000, and ETH was briefly above 2,000 this weekend. Got smacked back down, but not too hard. So I'm going to pull up this chart, and I'm going to let you continue what you were talking about.
It's what was I talking about?
You were talking about I think a double bottom there.
Right.
It's ugly. It's not looking good, but
so we had tried to put in a double bottom, and then randomly at the end of last week got some insane sell in ETH on Bitcoin on no news. We've plummeted to $1,700 about on ETH, which was a new low. And people were pretty convinced that we were going much, much lower. And I think everybody stood back and watched, and we got a weird bid, and it continued. We got back above where we had broken down from, and right up to really important resistance. I mean, yesterday we got up to $2,015. There's a pretty big band of resistance between 2020, 2040-ish on ETH. And
yeah, it looks like we took a couple of stabs at that mid-May and didn't quite get it.
Right, and we hit that 2040 level or we hit the 2015 level yesterday. We're pulling back now, and it's mainly also because the S&P is down as well. Stocks are getting hit, so that correlation breakdown that we were talking about seems to be back this morning as stocks are down, and so is crypto. The type of structure that was put in tried to look like a double bottom, had what's looking like a bear trap that broke right underneath it, and then a quick rebound right back. Now, we need to get over that 2040 level, but it should move pretty fast if it does. We do have final boss resistance at about 2200. So if we can remain bullish here, and it is trying to go the other way right now, that is the area, that is kind of the last area before something stupid happens. And by stupid, I mean a pretty quick move to 2,500. If we did take out that 2,200 level, there is really zero resistance between here and say 2,450-ish about. That's kind of the relief bounce I would be expecting here. And then I would think we would pause and gyrate sideways and tease the bears to the downside, tease the bulls to the up. Probably another long sideways move for at least a couple weeks if that happened. So closely watching. And again, right now, everything was up so much at the end of the last week that it needed to cool off today. I had been talking about, it was interesting because on Friday, I was looking at the action. I was like, all right, the next day the market is open because obviously we were closed yesterday for the holiday. It's the last day of the month. And whatever was the main trend of that month, the last day tends to match it. And why is that? It's something called month-end markups or markdowns in this case, with the idea of window dressing. So if you're a fund and you own a bunch of Square and Shopify and Carvana and Tesla, these stocks are down a lot, okay? You do not want them on your books because at the end of every quarter, you have to send out a filing that shows what you own. And all the rich people who don't watch markets on a daily basis like you and I do because they're off doing their job or whatever else makes them rich, they just wait for this thing to come in the mail and they look, right? And in the back of their heads, they know Tesla's down 30%, and they know
it's literally they hear it on the radio, right, and like a couple emails that they're subscribed to, and that's the only thing that they're covering. Tesla, Carvana, Amazon, all of these things that are getting wrecked. Yeah.
And they don't, when they get that quarterly filing from the hedge fund they're invested in, they don't want to see those things on the books. So hedge funds have spent the last month dumping these. That's why we have had such violent weeks. This is literal rotation out of tech into things like energy. And anything that was left on their books, today is the last day to get it off before those quarterly filings come. So it works in both directions. Had we been in some insane rally this month and say the last 4 days were down just because we had been up so much, you would expect today to be up. We had the opposite. So on Friday, I said, man, I think we're actually, I was going to buy puts on Friday, which is a bet against the market. I was essentially shorting it with puts, but we started to run past my target. And I mean, a lot. Like I had a pretty hefty target and the S&P just kept going on Friday. I mean, it was a literal short squeeze and it was so strong that two things stopped me from buying puts, and that was the strength, but also the fact that we had a long weekend. Remember, options are time-based, right? They expire after a certain amount of time. So if there is an extra day taken off the calendar, that's going to be a day that your theta degrades and you can't do anything about it. The market is closed. So I hesitate to buy things like puts. Plus, I thought in the back of my mind, well, it was so strong. I bet a lot of people bought protection at the end of the day, and they want to punish those people when they come in. So by the end of the day, Friday, I figured the market would open up today and then crash towards not crash, but have the pullback we're literally I thought we would get to the levels we're at right now. Now I'm almost starting to think the opposite. Like, all right, we came in with the pullback I expected. So they're able to get everything off their books now by noon. By lunch, everyone's going to have sold everything they want to sell. Are we going to see a snap? Now, I played the end of last week very well. I went home flat, and I just said, often if you try to play every move, you're just going to trip up eventually. It's great if you nailed one leg, you step back, you say, okay, this is what I think is going to happen on the next leg. And then you observe, right? And you see how calibrated you are. Like, was this a one-off? Am I really seeing the ball well? All this stuff. So I came in this morning flat. I probably would have bought puts on Friday had it not been a long weekend, though that strength was really something towards the end of the day there. Now, the big news, I guess, in crypto at the end of last week was the decoupling. You've heard people talking about it a lot because as the market was up a good 5%, crypto was down more than that. So this was weird. Today, again, it seems to be very correlated. I mean, ETH was hanging around 1970 all morning, and then the moment the S&P opened down, 80 points, it tanked as well, down to 1940. So I think that it actually really makes me think the end of last week was a short-term capitulation. Now, I think how I feel about the rest of the year. I think that it's going to be choppy either way. I think both sides are going to be frustrated. This isn't going to be easy for anybody. But I do think we've seen a very short-term bottom and capitulation, and that's what we saw last week. This undercutting of those 1790 lows, which, again, anybody who got long ETH at 1790 has just been chilling. It bounced up and it's been bouncing around, but you put your stop where you bought and it's a free trade at this point. Like, whatever, it takes my stop out, blah, blah, blah. Well, they ran those stops, and anybody who bought 1790 got stopped out there. And bears who were expecting every rally to eventually sell off got excited again and say, yep, here we go, new lows incoming, and shorted the whole. Now we're moving in the other direction. That's squeezing them. If we get above that 2200, I really think we're going to see a pretty quick and swift move to 2500. I did a lot of charting over the weekend. I'm now expecting ETH. Once we get to that 2500 area, there's going to be some sort of pause. I don't know if it's going to be sideways or if it's going to be down. I think everyone is very used to down right now. And the moment the market becomes used to something, they start doing something else. So this is the same thing I did with the markets on Friday. If we hit the target, which I have, which I think we're going to hit, I'm just going to step back and watch. I'm expecting either sideways consolidation, some sort of pullback down. And I think this is going to happen towards the end of June. Right now, macro markets are heading into the June expiration. Okay, this is going to be a quad witching. That means options and futures expire at the same time, and bonds, commodities, and stocks and options. That's why it's called quad witch. Everything expires at the same time. We have the highest put call ratio right now that we have had all year in a long time. That means people were buying protection or betting on downside. If we did see capitulation and the downside is over at least temporarily, that put call ratio needs to be unwound, and it'll be unwound into options expiration because those are options. That is a gauge of options that people use for sentiment. I think this drags everything with it. Crypto, obviously stocks, because that's what's causing the move along with macro. Then after we get expiration, or probably a couple days before, because it likes to trick people. And mind you, that's June 17th. So if you're planning, when is that? That would be the week of the 12th or the 13th would be when I would, if we continue the rally, which I think we will after today, watch that week for a pause or reversal. Then the end of June, I think we have sideways to down. Now we come into July, and what is happening in August? The merge. Okay, I know it's everybody's favorite fucking meme to say ETH2 is coming and blah, blah, blah. Like, I am more sick of that meme than the ETH2 delay. Like, that meme is so, it's just like fucking lowbrow mid-curve bullshit. Like, we get it. There's been delays, whatever. You're in NFTs. You're used to delays. Now, the ETH2 deployment, the merge, all of that, it's coming in August. Markets love to front run that stuff, okay? So if they know it's coming in, and believe me, over the next couple weeks, we're going to start to get very finite evidence that it's coming in August. That's what's going to kick off the real ETH rally or whatever. Now, I think we're going to rally into August when the merge happens. I don't know if it happens mid or end of August or whatever it is. I actually think we're going to get back to 35, maybe even 3,600. And then the merge is going to happen, and then it's going to be sell the news again. Now, bears will be expecting new lows. I think we're only going to pull back to about 21, 2,200. This area we're talking about right now, that final boss. You know, the final boss tends to become your support next time around. If it's your resistance now, that final boss tends to become your support next time around when you test it. Now, if we run to 3,600 over the next month or two, and then we pull back to 2,100, it actually turns the head and shoulders, big, scary, multi-year pattern that everyone's looking at and thinks is going to make crypto go to zero. And it creates an inverse head and shoulders pattern. I actually tweeted out a chart over the weekend showing how it could play out. That, I believe, would resolve in October or November. And from that point on, we would be gunning for new all-time highs. It would be the end of everything we've been going. Now,
yeah, I mean, no, I was just gonna say you mentioned sentiment, and that was the one thing that I was curious to hear your take on. Do you believe like sentiment is too mixed right now? I mean, we are having the Bulls and the Bears battle, right? Like the second it goes up, you have 50% of people saying, "Oh, this is a bull trap for sure." The other half of people will be like, "We're back, baby," and it feels like there's too much divide, right? It's, you know, it's like you said, it's like when everybody is feeling down, when everybody is crushed, when everybody is defeated, that's when you get that, you know, nice big leg up because it's kind of going against the expectations. And then vice versa, when everybody is just celebrating, we're rich, let's all quit our jobs, you know, we're all fucking billionaires, you get smacked down a little bit. What are you feeling like the sentiment is right now on Twitter? Because I personally just see like such a mixed bag of reactions to this, such a mixed bag of predictions. I've seen people saying I could see it go to 1,500. I've seen people say it could drop below 1,000. None of that would surprise me in this industry, but there doesn't seem to be a big consensus going on. You there?
No, and I believe the lows are in for the year. Okay. And I caution everybody to think that's a call to run and go buy everything. Because remember, it's all about how long are you going to tie up your capital and for what. Now, when you're a DCA long-term guy, doesn't matter. Lows are in. Buy. Okay. Buy. NFA, but
it feels like a good time to increase your DCA during this. Like if you kind of have like a hybrid model where like when things are low, you kind of front load the purchases, and as things really tend to skyrocket, you kind of ease up on the purchases.
Right.
But that's what I did. But yeah.
Yep. But if you are a trader, okay, just because the lows are in doesn't mean you can just buy and go on vacation, right? This is going to be what I continue to believe is a very volatile year. Right now, people got too pessimistic. And it's funny to me. You want to talk about sentiment? The sentiment right now is a bunch of bears who were bearish before any of this happened and who were hoping for it. Bunch of people who turned bear just from being whipped and beaten for 4 months. And then a bunch of people who are saying everyone is bullish. Like, they're not bearish. They're not bullish, but they're like, oh, everyone's bullish. You know, everyone's bullish. That's all you could say. That I am telling you right now, every traditional sentiment gauge I have looked at is at the most extreme settings I have ever seen. I will admit we did not have them as readily available in 2009. I'm sure they were as bad, if not a little worse. This is much worse than 2020 on a sentiment. I'm not saying that the reality is. I'm saying on a sentiment gauge, people are more scared than they were peak pandemic lows. That's fucking crazy. Okay.
Yeah, I think the pandemic was just the easy way to cope with it too, though, right? It's a pandemic. What the fuck can you do about it? Everything's dead. We're dead. We're all done.
Yeah. This right now, it would be very hard for sentiment. Look, sentiment can't get worse. The question is, how long does it stay low, or whatever? The problem is, why is the sentiment this low? Is the sentiment this low based on reality, or the extrapolations of the media presenting to you what they say is reality? And I'm telling you right now, I'm posting charts every day showing you that inflation has been cooling off for a month and a half. Okay, look, it's come so high. I know, like, as you go spend money, you're not going to feel that. Okay, the Fed, who is deciding every day whether do we kill the economy, because they're fucking killing the economy on purpose. They know. But every day they come into work and the calculus is, do we continue to kill the economy, or has what we done worked? And so far it's working very, very well. All right. And the question is, did markets price too much of a bad scenario in? And did the Fed not expect what they did to work so well? I think we're seeing evidence of both right now. That's the recipe for some crazy reflexive move that people don't expect. Fuck sentiment, fuck trying to read Twitter. Everyone's trying, but you got to understand, the opportunists and the easy money people and the guys who bought the top, they're gone. One, they're out of fiat. Okay. Two, they're bored. Three, even if the market goes up, they're not even going to get to even, so they could barely care. They're dejected. They're apathetic. They're gone. The people who are left here, they're religious zealots. We're all true believers. Of course, there's going to be some underlying perma bullishness in the crowd that's left. There's like 7 of us. Of course, they're fucking bullish. If we weren't bullish, we'd just jump out a window. There's nothing left. All the opportunists are gone. Okay. Of course, you're going to see a faction of bullish people who remain. But I'm telling you right now, we're just using sentiment as a gauge. It's as bad as it can get. And the reasons for it being there they're exaggerated right now. And that evidence is going to start to come out. And again, while it's very difficult for the Fed, like, I'm calling for them to pause. I have been for a few weeks. I do it half because it's an engaging thing to tweet out, as it would be pretty extreme. But you have to understand, when the Fed commits to something, you can't just turn on one set of data. You have to look deliberate and confident, and you need to at least give the image that you know more than everybody else. And look, nobody knows more than everyone's out here fucking guessing. That's just life in general. But they need to present this image of strength, this image of deliberateness, and knowing what they're doing. So it'd be very hard for them, I think, to do a complete pause in June, but I expect their language to start softening. Shit, it already has. You have to. I mean, you are purposely killing, when you start to raise interest rates, your main concern is whether you can create what's called a soft landing. That's where you raise interest rates and stop the froth. You cool inflation in the labor market a bit, but you don't cause a recession. That's the Goldilocks that they're trying to hit every time. It's very difficult, right? And right now, they're at risk of causing a very, very hard landing. And the data is saying, whoa. Why you got to do that? And I think market participants are already understanding that. That's kind of why you're seeing risk on again. And while today we are seeing month-end markdowns for the window dressing concept I explained to you earlier, I do believe that the bullishness is going to remain with us for at least a month. here looking out, especially up until options expiration, as I expect the put call to unwind. Of course, we will adjust to reality as always. And if we lose, I am watching right now, if we lost, say, 1920 on ETH, and closed underneath it, or let me bring up the chart. I don't even have the chart up right.
Yeah, we're getting smacked back down even just while we've been talking a little bit. Dropped down to 1940 right now. Well, 1950 now. But yeah, you have the chart up?
Hey, yeah, give me 1 second. 1910. We don't want to close under 1910 or spend a lot of time down there. Crypto likes to poke under these magical lines of support and resistance we create, but we don't want to spend a lot of time under 1910. That's when we'll start to come in and reevaluate what's happening.
Well, a couple crypto was having some good days. That's not the right article. Doge had a little bit of a pump when Elon said that SpaceX will be accepting Dogecoin for SpaceX merch. That's pretty cool. I would probably buy some SpaceX merch if I had to buy some Doge to do it. I would do so. But Elon still attached to the Doge train. Also, speaking of Elon, I'm gonna bring that up in a little bit, but the suspected wallet of Elon that nobody got ETH. I don't know. Did we ever come to any kind of finite conclusion that may or may not be him? I know you heard rumors, but he made a big purchase of a other side, a Coda as well. So, or that wallet did.
Yeah, I mean, people who I trust have told me it's him, but where are they getting their information? So maybe more Elon buys and NFTs here. I guess when analyzing whether this is him or not, you try to get into his head and say, okay, he's a masterful PR marketing guy. He knows how to work the media. What would be his angle here? He doesn't strike me as somebody who cares about collecting. Like, he strikes me as somebody who cares about
I would agree with that.
He does not seem like a guy who cares about stuff. So if he is doing this, there is likely an angle related to something he's building. And I'm not talking about like, oh, he's going to build an NFT marketplace. I think that's very small potatoes. I think the idea would be, how could I leverage this niche in crypto to get where I want with blockchain? I mean, that's kind of the only way I would think about this. Like, could him turning NFTs into the $1 trillion industry it's going to be help legitimize crypto enough that he could meet his other end goals? I don't know. I don't know how he's thinking. So what it says to me is that there is a lot more chance that this is not his wallet than it is. If I'm trying to think, Elon probably isn't collecting, though. I guess.
I don't picture Elon having like not immaculate, like a huge art collection in his house. I mean, he admittedly stays in like small homes and stuff while he's traveling around.
Right.
Like I don't picture him with Picassos on the wall or oh, check out my Bored Ape. I mean, the only he sits there and he talks about playing Elden Ring. So the only reason I think he would have this is if he just liked it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So. It's certainly, I guess we don't know enough. I have heard that it's his. We will see. One day.
This is the purchase that I'm referring to. 175 ETH for this Coda. On the other side, the wallet, of course, nobody.eth. That was one that we talked about with I think it was the lot of like 110 Bored Apes that was bought at either Christie's or Sotheby's. Can't remember which one it was, but quite a few months back. And then Elon put that collage in his profile picture and tweeted out, seems kind of fungible. I don't know. He's just Elon being Elon, having fun, trolling, stuff like that. So I mean, maybe one day it'll come out. Maybe we'll just never know. But SpaceX merch coming soon with Dogecoin. So that's pretty cool. Another coin that got a big run yesterday was the 30% jump for Cardano. We talk shit about Cardano quite a bit. And nothing really happens on it. Well, The reason for that is that it appears like some DeFi action is actually picking up on there. They've seen some pretty substantial growth going on the network and activity, and the market responded very positively. It's kind of cooled off since then, not quite up 30% anymore. Very, very quickly pull that up before we move on to more NFT content. But yeah, sitting at 62 cents and almost 17% on the day. So good little run for Cardano there. And, you know, the NFTs that are supposed to be on it, the DeFi action, maybe it's one to watch for. But I do believe that as ETH kind of marches towards that 2.0 merge, things like Solana, things like Cardano, like I think they're gonna have a hard time competing. There's just too much activity and there's too much being built on Ethereum already to kind of keep up with it. Not saying that they're gonna crash or go to zero, but typically, you know, people gravitate towards where there's already stuff being built. Developers already go where the ecosystem has been developed well and whatnot. So I mean, we'll keep an eye on it, but I think that could be end game for some of these L1 chains. I think you probably are in agreement with that, knowing your stance on ETH.
Yeah, I think that this is a massive bullish event for Ethereum. The Ethereum blockchain is going to come out of this as the viable and marquee investment in crypto. I think that we just went through the alt L1 / Ponzi / community meta cycle, whatever you want to call it. And next time around, it's going to be about real companies with real revenues leveraging blockchain. And Ethereum is going to be the smart contract chain of choice.
Yeah, unless it's a private chain within the company, I wholeheartedly agree. I think that's where we're at.
And even those, I think most of them are going to be L1s and stuff. But I just think that, like, it's a huge undertaking to build your own chain, so to say, and it's a lot of maintenance. Like, I could maybe see somebody as big as Disney doing it. And even
sorry, I'm not talking about the public ones. I just mean like some like medical records and stuff like that will use their own private ones. But yeah, Disney I could definitely imagine as particularly wanting control over their own ecosystem too, right?
Yep.
So pretty protective of that. Let's talk some JPEGs, dude. You know, that was a great market overview, and it's basically what most people are talking about. But there has been some really encouraging action in the NFT scape. Obviously, I just mentioned the other side purchase, other side sitting at 3 ETH. I don't know. That seems like if you're high in liquidity, that could start to be a buy. But more specifically, of course, I'm referring to Goblin Town, which just continues to go up. Go up. Last week, we were probably sitting at about a 0.5 floor. We are now sitting at 3.4 ETH floor, and this train has just not stopped. I think it's really captivated people in an interesting way. Like, people are, as weird as it kind of is, role playing with it, having fun with it. Bear market's in, depression is down, activity is down, volume's down. People get bored and they start to do stuff like this. And I think it's kind of propelling a lot of activity in the market. And I think that, you know, it's helping keep attention on NFTs, whether you're participating in it or you're just keeping an eye on it, saying, you know, how the fuck is this possible? Of course it's possible. It's a meme that was incredibly appropriately timed. I mean, the art isn't something I'd be hanging on the wall, but it is what it is. It's actually pretty good. And it seems very deliberate and very careful. It's spawned, just a countless amounts of derivatives at this point. We've seen elftown.wtf. That one actually did all right, sitting at 0.12 ETH floor. Cave Goblins, Orktown, the list goes on and on and on. Moonbird derivatives of it, and et cetera, et cetera. What do you think it was just so particularly special about Goblin Town? Was it all timing? Was it the people behind it? And, you know, is this now the next kind of MFers? Like, just a great meme within the NFT space?
So it's, you know, this is a factor of the perfect storm, right? We don't know how much of it was planned, but if you look at the supposed leaked Yuga deck, it had something on it that said Goblin. Then you have one of the most pervasive memes for months in our industry being Goblin Town. My guess is they just tried to leverage Goblin Town, and the Yuga thing was just a happy coincidence. But, this is just the power of memes. We talk about that ad nauseum on this show all the time. It's my central investing thesis, especially in crypto. And you have seen now what people are referring to as the free mint meta take complete hold. And some people are grumpy. Some people are very happy because they bought. I think the main takeaway is NFT traders and market participants are ready to start playing again.
What are people grumpy about? Is it cope that they missed it? Or that this shouldn't be like something that's good?
I can't break down everybody's psychology, but
I just meant in general.
Everyone has a different reason. Oh, they're ugly, or it's
fucking goblins. Of course they're ugly.
Everyone has a different stupid reason. I guess if we were gonna psychoanalyze, it's probably cope from missing out on a free mint that's almost 4 ETH as of this morning. So that is, and I'll say this. The art is not low effort. It's very good.
It's not.
Ugly doesn't mean the art isn't cared for. If you look like somebody cared for this art, they're just whatever. It's the guy. And look, are these going to fall 80% sometime in the next 3 months? Of course. It's a meme.
The Kevin one.
Kevin. It happens to every meme that doesn't take any validity away from them. Nor am I calling for anyone to say they could go to 10 ETH first. Who knows with these memes? If you're in it, you're more tuned into the hype and the vibe and the community that I am. But it's a pretty typical cycle with these things, and it's very Here's why it's encouraging, and I was thinking a lot about it over the weekend because it doesn't automatically mean some new NFT bull run is. I mean, shit. If coins go up 30%, I doubt NFTs are going to move. NFTs are probably just going to sit there and go, holy shit, what's going on? They can't go much lower, but I don't think they're going to rally with coins initially. We were so risk off and risk averse in a macro sense. I don't see the easy money coming back into NFTs quickly. What it does point out to me, and what it is something people should think about and consider. Over the last few months, you've heard multiple influencers come out near the top and say NFTs could never see a bear market again. Now, I think a lot of people are sitting here laughing right now, like, haha, those idiots, Farouk has egg on his face. Look at the bear market we're in right now. This isn't a fucking bear market. Not in NFTs. It may be a percentage bear market in coins. Your portfolio value may be down. But what these influencers and thought leaders and people meant was that you'll never see a winter like you used to see in NFTs. There will always be a cook somewhere. There will always be a new meta. And now there is a base number of customers that are always there and always looking for action. That is what has changed from cycle to cycle. And nobody can say when or how it's going to come back. But I truly back up what they're saying now. If this is a bear market, I don't think we could ever have a bear market again in NFTs in the way people think. Of course, people will always buy the top of cycles, see a 90% drawdown, and it'll be a bear market for them. Don't get it's a bear market for everybody whose portfolio is killed right now. But if you're analyzing our industry, how has it changed? How is it different? I don't think you're ever going to see the type of winters. I still get OpenSea emails every day. That is not a bear market. There are still people out there paying $25,000 for JPEG land. In no way is that a bear market. This is different, and it's very encouraging if you've been in NFTs for a long time, because this is not something that you used to see at all.
I want to just add this, and like I think sometimes the volume statistics that we look at to kind of measure like activity, while more volume is good, I think framing some perspective around what volume is important, because back in the big bull runs of NFTs that we've had, you personally see probably 10, 15, 20 projects a day dropping, minting, free mints, stealth mints pop up. There are hundreds that are going down every day that you don't see. A lot of them never, really gain any kind of traction. Maybe a couple get minted, maybe nothing gets minted, et cetera, et cetera. But when all of that attention is on all of these projects, everyone's looking for the next cook. They're trading. Most of the stuff that's minting and getting put out there is just junk. It's low effort stuff. It's cash grabs. It's rugs. The market weeded a lot of that shit out. It started rejecting a lot of just shit. I see it every day. All of these new mints happening. You go and check and see how they're doing. They're 300 minted out of 8,000, 600 minted out of 10,000. They're really just not gaining any traction. And that is the market saying, like, we don't really want this. But when you look at things like Goblin Town, you look at these free mints, which we've talked about in the past, have kicked off bull runs before. Free mints getting activity is a good sign. But the volume is just being concentrated into stuff that the market is deeming good enough to actually be traded, right? So it's like you could probably just like cut a lot of this all off as just money just sloshing around in the ecosystem, going from mint to mint to mint, cook to cook to cook, pre-reveal this, pre-reveal that. Like, how many tens of thousands of ETH did Hape trade before they finally decided to reveal the junk that was underneath their pre-reveal screen? All of that stuff isn't happening now because the market has just extracted the bullshit, right? So while this number is definitely a lot lower than all of the other numbers, there's a lot less shit that is just sloshing around. And just remember, all of that volume that's just trading hands over and over again, and everyone's playing the same game, and there's not a big influx of liquidity, that's just OpenSea and those teams or those rugs extracting money out of the ecosystem. When I see this and I see things like Goblin Town and Elf Town and these big sales on things like the other side and whatnot, I see lots of money being traded into projects that, are deemed quality. And I don't see OpenSea making a shitload of money off of all of the other junk. And that to me is actually a good thing. I don't know if you agree with that or if that's a different take or anything like that, but I'm okay with seeing some slow, steady growth on these volume numbers right now. And I just don't think that it means we're dead. There's clearly stuff going on that is saying we're not.
And it's just a factor of the bear. All that shit is going to come right on back when the money starts flowing. Of course. The market has not gotten any smarter. It will not be any more educated. And the moment the casino doors swing open, then you will forget all your rational thought and run in with everybody else. Thank you. You
don't think that though? Yeah. Okay. That's fair. So you don't think that this is just a market intelligence?
I think it gets reduced, but not as much as we think. Like, it looks like it gets reduced a lot more just because everybody leaves because there's no more money. It'll come back, but it comes back a little less every time. The other thing is it comes back in different forms, right? Yeah. Like, look at the end of the last cycle. People figured out the community meta and knew how to manufacture it, right? Like, everyone knew what the template was. They knew what the right things to say were, how you wanted to look,
We said that during the Star Wolves thing all the time. It was like, look, we know there's a playbook to just get creating tons of hype and tons of FOMO and tons of community. We actively went against that. But it was incredibly obvious because so many people were doing it, and look where their projects are now. The devs are just completely fucked off. They're gone with their 10, 15, 20 million dollars that they made, and it is what it is.
And this is a great time for builders to build, but it's a lot harder when you had, when you minted your project, it went to 2 ETH and now it fell 90%. People don't have a lot of hope. It's hard to keep people around. Mm-hmm. By avoiding that early on, people always know that hype cycle is ahead. It keeps people engaged. It keeps people believing it. And You need that. I mean, this is all about community in the sense that those are your marketers, right? Your community is who goes out there and tells their friend. You have 5,000 people in your community. They each convince one friend to buy, and that's all you need, right?
Yeah.
10,000 PFPs sold, done.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've said this so many times, but 10,000 is a low number, right? Like it is such a tiny number in the grand scheme of things that when you start to talk about, you know, community effects and just the growth of a community, like even just making a random Instagram page is really actually not that difficult to just get it to 10,000 followers, 15,000 followers, 20,000 followers. You got to be consistent. You got to, you know, put out some decent quality. But when you're talking about a profile picture project that has 10,000 in it, and you look at, like, if you can just add 5 new, like, good, solid community members a day, holders that are going to buy 1 or 2 of your NFTs, and then they start to just tell maybe one of their friends, maybe of those 5, you know, they just add 1 more or 2 more. Now you're just like adding those little numbers in of people that are just going to buy 2, 3 of them, and, you know, really, really buy into what you do and really hold it through thick and thin because, you know, they like being Kaiju is a great example of that. They really like being a part of the community. They really like what's being built. When you look back and you can consistently do that, if you can consistently do that for 3 months, 6 months, that little number of like 5 a day, that will turn into 2,000. 2,000 people in a 10,000 collection, and maybe, you know, the average of them own 1.5. I mean, you're talking about a substantial chunk of that project being like held strong.
You know, Kaijus would be nothing without their community, which feels like the most obvious thing in the world to say. But what if I said it the other way? Azuki's community would be nothing without the marketing of the parent company, right? So I feel like it can go both ways. Like, I don't believe it's the community that made Azuki what it was, okay? But they are a great product. One of the projects everyone looks to, you know, one of the quote unquote blue chips in our industry. Kaijus, on the other hand, are the exact opposite. They've publicly admitted marketing and social is something that they have to work more on. We need to blah, 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 blah. It's the community that made that project. So understanding that there's 2 ways to go about achieving the same thing, and figuring out which is more foundational, which has a better, stronger foundation and can be more successful long term.
Love it. Oh, you wanted to talk about Wrecked Guy. I have that pulled up.
So if we want to, you know, let's pretend that all the people who are being negative have valid points, and it's like, oh, this is all free mints, low effort cash grabs, ugly art, like these aren't blah, blah. Well, let's look at this. Wrecked Guy by OSF, one of the hottest young upcoming artists in our game. Obviously, inspirations and shades of X Copy. But if you've observed his one of ones and his smaller editions that he has done over the last year or two, they have a message. They say something. I think this is one thing that separates great one-of-one artists from good one-of-one artists is what they say. You could be on the same level technically as a great artist, but if your art doesn't say anything, you're going to be good, not great. And Wrecked Guy, his art has always, OSF, who made the collection Wrecked Guy, which has been one of the great cooks of this last week and month.
Yeah, sitting at a 0.84 floor. Do you know what the meat price was? Was it free?
It was free for certain holders.
Oh, right. Yes, I remember seeing that.
I forget if there was a public, or I'm sorry, I don't recall if it was free or if they had the right to mint it because whatever it was. This is a project that is great art. art's always subjective, but this is a one-of-one artist who is lauded. It is not a Fiverr artist that was hired to do something, which I guess is the other end of the spectrum people always like to point out. This is a known artist who has seen success, who have put out a PFP project, and it was I think it got up to 1.5 at its top. It's still holding 0.84 right now, but this is another sign that NFTs, while they may be in a low volume moment, especially for things that have existed on the secondary for more than a month, NFTs are not dead. NFTs are not in a bear market. And if the formula is right, people will buy. And not only was this a great artist, but it's very memeable. Just like Goblin Town, we're all wrecked right now. Wrecked Guy launched at a perfect time. It captures people's feelings. Everybody feels wrecked. It's part of this guy's brand. Again, just the perfect collection at the perfect time. It saw a great cook, and I do believe these will do very well long term. They cooled off a little bit, but man, really, really love this collection. Huge shout out to OSF. Go check out his limited editions and one-of-ones, which obviously get a heftier price right now, but they don't get anywhere near the price of a Beeple or an X copy or a POC. So if you want to ink this kid as one of the next greats, it's a good entry.
I love this tweet that he put out 2 days ago as well. And it just goes to show all of those people that like, NFTs don't benefit the artist. Blah, 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 blah. People do that all the time. This guy, 6 months ago, I was bored at my day job and doodled Wrecked Guy. Yesterday, Snoop Dogg bought the NFT. Life is wild. I mean, come on. I get it. There's a lot of shit out there. People copy. People go on artists' things and mint them as NFTs all the time. It's junk. It's garbage. You can disprove all of that stuff. But fuck those people that I say like, now you have some monetization of your art because people want to collect it. You have some exposure. You have ways that people can participate in your work. It's like people are just like love the idea of commiserating over things. Oh, the starving artist. Is that the way that it has to be? Well, I'm happy for OSF. I don't own any of his stuff. I might actually buy one. It looks great. But I just the effect that this stuff can have on people that are talented and put their stuff out there and go for it is amazing. And I appreciated that tweet a lot.
I mean, I forgot if we talked about it on the show. I think we did, but there was a pixel artist last week or the week before, I forget, who put out a tweet, and it was like this very hesitant, oh my God, I have to throw in the towel. I gotta say, I'm gonna try NFTs. I know a lot of you are not going to like this. I don't care if you unfollow me or you hate me. We
didn't talk about that, no.
It would just be nice to have things like food and healthcare. Like that was literally the tweet.
Yeah.
It was like, I know you guys are against this stuff, but I have to try because it would just be nice to eat. You know what I mean?
It's incredible the people, the 1 million followers on Instagram that will turn their back on you because all of a sudden you decide that you want to participate in NFTs and hopefully, improve your quality of life. They're more than happy to just sit there and take all of this free shit that you put out there on Instagram for their enjoyment. And the second you say, it's time for me to make some money off this, they go, well, fuck you then. You sell out.
Yeah, exactly. So this artist mints one of their pieces on Foundation, I want to say, and within 24 hours, I believe the piece was at 19 ETH. I will send R2 the tweet right now, and he can bring it up on the screen just so you guys can see this because it was great. Like I said, this person fabulous pixel artist, by the way, and I will send the piece over too, which is phenomenal. Yeah.
So this is JMW 327. Good following, 150,000 followers. Probably going to try out NFTs. Don't understand them or why they are controversial, but can't keep making less than 10K a year. And so if there's a chance, want to be able to afford healthcare and stuff. Sorry if it offends you. Please do whatever makes you feel comfortable.
So he's making less than 10K a year, and I just sent R2 the piece that he minted on Foundation, and you can see what it sold for when the gavel fell. And, you know, I'm a big, tough guy like everybody else, but, you know, certain things get to you. And maybe a tear strolled down my eye that day. You can scroll down to the last sale there.
Yeah, sold for $7,000.
Nope. What?
No? 3.60?
No. It was at, that's weird. It was sold for it was at 17 ETH when there you go.
There was a different one. Yeah.
Sorry.
So, okay.
Sorry. The first one,
as you should be.
21 ETH.
Look, $40,000. That guy just made more for putting an
4
NFT
years.
up.
4 years worth of salary.
And if anybody's going to shit on him, unreal.
And can
this is good shit too.
Ooh, it's good stuff. I'd put that on my wall. I love this look. I mean, I delicious
with Star Wolves and learning pixel art and trying to ink crops on it, and been working on some larger resolution stuff. I think I showed you the thing that I made.
Yes, you did. So good. So good.
But I could just tell you, I mean, this stuff. Oh, that's not pixel art. Okay, never mind. I thought that was just like zoomed out. This stuff is really fucking good. The colors are fantastic. The use of line work, just how clean it was, and it's a less is more. Like sometimes your mind goes to defaulting to putting tons and tons of intricate details everywhere. No, it has just it is profound to me that anybody would be pissed off that an NFT collector would give this guy $40,000 and they'll still shit on him for being a grift. Like it blows my mind.
Boy,
we will get away from that. We will get away from that.
If there was a simple fishing game with this aesthetic, where you could plug any NFT you owned in, walk on over to the pond, start fishing. You have to buy your fishing gear, so you have to buy your pole and your line and your fish, and they're all NFTs.
Didn't Pudgy Penguins already do that?
What'd you say?
Didn't Pudgy Penguins already do that?
Shush. The pole and all these things, they wear out eventually. So as you're fishing, your pole degrades, you need new line, you need new lures and stuff. They all cost money. But if you catch certain fish, you could sell those at the market. Fish to earn.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this is like the fishing version of stepping.
Yeah. If anyone out there can code that shit, get at me. I think we got some.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, people do love that shit. Interesting. I wonder when this auction is over. If this one is only sitting at 1.65 ETH, probably make some offers on something like that. This guy's good, man. This is really good art. I thank you for sharing that too, because I actually did not.
No, I would buy these and hang them on my wall. And it's not, the first one went for so much. I think, look, rich ETH people love to be benefactors like this, and you'll see this happen regularly. Well, there'll be like a good social angle to an NFT or a good story behind it, and some rich guys will overbid something initially. Love this, guys. Sitting at 2, 3, and 4 ETH. Oof, I would love to have one of these to put on my wall.
Hell yeah. I love it.
Yep.
This is really good stuff. Really good. I'm gonna look at it more. Amazing. All right, my friend. Anything else that you wanna touch on today? I think we probably save some stuff for tomorrow. We talked about Steppen, and I just mentioned it. Not doing so well. China ban incoming. Raid party, tough week for you. Maybe we'll do a little P2E thing tomorrow.
It was we all know I love raid party. I just had a tough week. When I would have a bad beat in poker. And there's no way you could call what happened to me bad beat. I'm just a degenerate gambler, and I had to go for the gold, and I screwed up. But if I had a really bad beat in a tournament, I kind of just had to walk away for a few. Otherwise, I would take it out on my bankroll. I would just do stupid shit. And I learned it's better to it's hard at times. Like you just get in this mode of I have to, I have to overcome what I just did, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But I had to walk away. I haven't even opened my raid party screen in a few days. I went for the double enhance. My first enhance was successful. My second one was a downgrade. That second one would have put me in 4th place. It ended up knocking me down to 19th. It hurt. These last 3 weeks, or these last 2, and then this week were the most important weeks in the tournament. There's a leaderboard tournament going on right now. It was weighted for the middle 3 weeks. And to fumble these last 2 weeks probably has screwed me for the season. So if we're just thinking about strategy-wise, and I were a profit maxi, this is where I would think about stopping my play. Because if I throw everything at it, there's still a chance the ETH that I make at the end of the season will not cover what I use to play. The idea is that it should be at least break even with what you spent on playing, if not make a early on, while there's inefficiencies, you may be able to make a profit with a little luck and playing well. As the game becomes larger and more efficient, you would just hope that those leaderboard rewards at the end of the season cover what you paid. And think about how great that, because you would be building the biggest teams for free, essentially. So you'd be creating these very large, expensive assets at no cost. So that's where the benefit from the leaderboard would come from. But you would expect in an efficient market that there wouldn't be much edge in winning money on it. But at this point, I would seriously be considering, do I just dump my confetti and farm for the rest of the season? Because I'd probably still get a relatively high place if I did minimum delta every week right now. And then if I just sold the rest of the confetti, would those two things added together at the end of the season equal a small profit, or at least break even for how big I built my team? Now, I'm not a profit maxi. I'm more of I love playing these games. I want to see where it goes. I want to get it as big and as good, all that great stuff. So we'll see. But yeah, very disappointing week for me on Raid Party, and I will be attempting an enhance this week and minting or summoning my first hero. I've never summoned a hero, but one of the big disparities in the Raid Party market early on was the ratio. You needed a minimum of 15 fighters to mint a hero, and fighters were going for 1 ETH, and heroes were going for 1 ETH. So it wouldn't have made much sense to burn 15 ETH for a 1 ETH hero.
Yeah, we always knew it was going to reach parity. We just hoped it would be a fighter stayed at 1 ETH. And
yeah, exactly. So now that they've reached parity, it's actually better to summon a hero, because if you summon one that's stronger than one of the ones you have in your farms, you can just switch that out, burn the weaker one, and it ended up being more EV than just picking one up off the floor, so to say. So that's going to be my week, but I probably won't be opening that until Friday, because that's when I'll have enough confetti to make all those moves. The snapshots are at a random time Saturday morning every week, so you want to get in all your stuff before you go to bed Friday. And then your other consideration is confetti tends to be cheapest today and tomorrow. Starting at the end of the day tomorrow, people start to buy confetti to enhance on Thursday and Friday. So there's, you could almost chart confetti now the way that it dips Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then starts to go the other way again as people enhance. So yeah, there's Raid Party.
Speaking of game, last thing before we wrap it up, did you log into the dashboard yet?
I have seen, oh baby, Genesis Wolves posting those dashboards. Tell them, R2.
The Star Wolves dashboard for the Genesis holders is up. Let me see if I can pull it up on the screen here. The
ooh baby, it looks good. Ooh baby.
The game.starwolves.com. Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to connect here because my MetaMask on this is just a fake one that doesn't have anything in it. But
fake. I knew it.
You've been
paper trading ETH the whole time.
I've never actually bought an NFT. This is all just a big grift. I just talk about this stuff. Let me try and find who is sharing it on Twitter. Oh my god, I'm logged into Twitter. Fuck. It's all falling apart. The wheels are falling off here, man. There it is. Oh, first post. There we go. Thank you, Catfish, as always, for the aptly timed. Yes, the Genesis holders and some of the top holders will be able to log into their dashboard now. You're going to be able to complete some objectives, start earning some of the in-game currency, and it's been fun. It's been awesome watching the.
Coming to your defense, why don't you guys just go get married in Vegas already?
Who's? Oh, I did. Yeah, I bought one of Cambo's NFTs. He's a fucking amazing pixel artist. The blockchain. Yeah, man, this will be up soon for all Star Wolves holders. Of course, we're doing the beta test now with the Genesis holders because there are some kinks to be ironed out. I went to log in with my main wallet, and it did get hung up a little bit. Apparently, if you have lots of NFTs in your wallet, it does get a little bit slow. So we're working on that. But this is why we do testing, right?
It's gonna be slow for me.
Yeah. They were like, "Well, do you have a lot of NFTs?" I'm like, "I don't know. I probably have about 300 in there." They're like, "Holy shit!" And I was like, "Yeah, don't worry. Most of them are just worth zero. It's not like nothing substantial in there, really." But yeah. So it did cause them to look and reevaluate how some of the checks are being done. So it's interesting learning about all of this stuff too. You kind of report some of this feedback, and they start talking about stuff that you have no idea, but you start to wrap your mind around it, and you go, I get it.
I have never gotten ordained, Cambo, but if any of my friends want me to marry them to their potential spouses, I will.
You seem ordained
for that, yeah.
Yeah, I could see. I could see.
Run it by the wife,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Free market's going to marry us, okay? Especially if you go full New York accent.
No, right after "Here Comes the Bride," everyone stands there. I go, "Hey now."
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that's probably not happening. Love you though.
Even if we keep it a brisk 68 in the church, 68 degrees, air conditioning always on. Would that be maybe that'll slow it?
No churches here.
Okay.
All right, my dude. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this bad boy up?
No. I couldn't think of a joke there, so I just said no.
Yeah, I could hear the wheels turning from all the way over here.
Yep. My brain failed me.
Yeah, I've got some stuff that I pulled up that we can kind of touch on tomorrow. Chimpers. That thing's cooked. There's some other stuff up there. Whatever. Hour and 15 minutes. Nothing wrong with that. On that note, guys, as always, this is recorded for your reviewing pleasure if you showed up late. Lots of market talk again at the beginning. Free market putting on an absolute clinic, not only as to how we got to where we are right now, but what might be to come over the next few months. And I gotta say, he always gets me pretty bullish on this stuff. So we will be watching that closely. We'll definitely be breaking some of that down again tomorrow. It is the dominant conversation in our market right now. Talked a lot about Goblin Town. Had a couple news articles. Oh, we didn't talk about Nike buying an ENS domain name. That's cool. Save it for tomorrow. Wrecked Guy OSF, some of the Star Wolf stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you missed out, it's all there for you to go check out. On that note, we will conclude episode 129 of the AM show. Love you all. Thank you so much for your time and tuning in. If you want to hit that like button, it's always appreciated. But you do you. If you don't want to, I don't care. Free market. Get us out of here.
Good luck at the tables. Bottom is in.